What's good, everybody? It's your boy Baby Thugger, and we back with another banger like always. Now, look, man, this is episode, I want to say number 3 or number 4 with my hood pops. Now, look, man, here we go again. It's back with another banger. Now, you've seen the title of today's video. It's called Did Prison Make Me a Man? Because, look, man, I've seen a lot of these things going on lately in the YouTube section. There's a lot of people saying, does prison make you solid? Does it make you a man? We even got a couple old niggas that sit here and contradict themselves. And shout out to our other guest right here, the one and only Gooners, still part of the production team. We still doing shit. Now go ahead and introduce yourself, Pops.
Once again, it's Lil Xlugg'R. Back for another one. Like, subscribe.
All right. Now look, man. All right. So let's get into it. So, with the last video we just did, we went past up over 500 views, almost 600. Now, let's talk about it, man. Today's first topic is going to be about contradiction, how people contradict themselves. Because we were talking about it, and me and my pops think some of y'all motherfuckers be contradicting the way prison goes. But for you, would you say that prison made a man out of you?
Personally, no. Life made a man out of me. Okay. Prison was just part of my life. Experiences there helped grow my character and sharpen my viewpoints and my knowledge. But I wouldn't say prison necessarily made me a man. I know men out here that never seen a cell.
Okay. And so what do you think when it comes to, certain content creators sitting here talking and they'll say something positive, but then sit there and contradict themselves?
Well, lately I've been watching a lot of these channels and just to get the vibe and the feel of them and really see what people are out there putting out there. I don't give no strength to negativity. I ain't going to talk about nobody personally, but there's some fools out there that say one thing 1 minute and the very next minute they're talking about nothing but negativity, violence. It's almost glorifying it. And then immediately after they want to talk about, but I'm not glorifying it. Why even bring it up? Why even talk about it? What's the point of addressing it if it's not to give it power or tear it down? If you're not tearing it down, you're only giving it power.
Okay. Now, when it comes to this other shit, like you said, these people sit here and they say they're not going to do this, but then they go and do it. Do you think there's really a point in sitting here explaining like a prison stabbing or something that you've done on the yard in full full explanation, or do you think it's just foolish to even talk about certain things that happen in there?
I wouldn't say it's foolish to talk about anything that's happened in there, but it's the way you address it. It's the way you talk about it. It's the perspective that you give it that's going out to your audiences, and it, like I said, it's almost glorifying it.
Okay. Now, for everybody in the audience, I've been having this idea that I just ran through to my hood pops, and I'm thinking about, we could do a workout video, but he was telling me, some of the steps it takes to working out, and what would you say some of the steps are to have a successful workout and to get big?
Your very first step should be to read up on nutrition. Your diet, what you eat, what you put in your body really matters. It's not as simple as just lifting a dumbbell and drinking a protein shake. You have to really watch the carbs and calories you put into your body. And once you read and study it, you know everything you're eating and where it goes to in your body, what it's going to benefit in your body. So if you don't have that knowledge and you're just winging it, you're never going to see your full potential. I suggest everybody gets in the Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia to Bodybuilding. It was a book I had my entire time. I never let it go. I went back to prison once and found it again, my exact book. And the biggest I ever got was based on that book.
Okay. And what would you say the biggest you ever got was?
I was 201 with 15% body fat, 19-inch arms, almost a 50-inch chest. I'll say a 47-inch chest.
Okay. Now, besides working out, I wanted to ask you this. What is another way that helped you, do your 15 years in prison?
Educating myself. Uh, I read all the books, all the basic books everybody in prison reads: The Art of Seduction, 48 Laws of Power, 33 Strategies of War, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and they're just basic to me. They were real basic. It was like a coloring book for a child. If you don't already know everything it tells you in there, you're already behind in the game. So once I read them and seen how basic they were, my thirst for growth led me into Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Nietzsche, like endless books that I probably spent, I'd say close to $7,000 in just books. And we ain't reading about dragons, we ain't reading about magical swords, nothing but educational things. And it took up a majority of my time. But doing that time brought me to psychology and philosophy.
Okay. So would you say that even writing your feelings down or something in a book, would that help in prison?
Well, I kept a journal my entire time. I have a journal in the house right now. Um, it's a conversation with yourself, and some motherfuckers can't keep it real. So if you start a journal, take the steps to be real with yourself. Like, otherwise, how are you gonna grow from it? If you're gonna fake it to yourself, you really, really faking it to everybody else, 100%. So when if y'all get a diary, a journal, just be real with yourself. Those were the first steps that led me into stop gangbanging. I wrote something in my journal 10 months before, and I just happened to go back and reread a certain page, and I was like, bro, why did I feel like that? What was going through my mind at that time? So I went back and reread that whole month, and I just started to see a lot of things like, yeah, I still feel that way. I still see it like that. And that's what led me to my growth. That's what led me to taking steps to be on my own and stand on my own.
Okay. Now there was this question we were talking about yesterday. Why is it so easy for fake motherfuckers to walk around and it takes real people to sit here and have to be the ones to enforce the line?
Real people are always going to address the problems. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's why real motherfuckers are locked up. Uh, Fake motherfuckers can move like water. They say salt is a rock for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Water just runs around it. So it's easy to be out there in the streets and running and hiding from everybody and being all in the mix. And as soon as light shone on them, they try to shine out everybody else around them just to take attention away from themselves.
That sounds real familiar. Like a couple content creators did that.
And it's just how it goes. Um,
It's what it is cowardice. It's the last move that they can make. It's the only move they can make. So when you're kitty cornered, because you could run away from life and all your problems, but when life go and kitty corner you, you're gonna have to face everything that you've been running from. You can't run left, you can't run right, forward or backward. So if that's the last thing they can do, if they want to take accountability, shit, you could do that. If not, they're gonna result to cowardice decisions. Last resort, any coward person can make.
That's true. Now, Gooners, I wanted to ask you this. Do you have anything you wanted to like bring up and ask Preston on the live?
Um, I think for another episode, I think questions that I have and that I can articulate will probably take some time. So I think some viewers, if they want to stay prepped and keep an eye out, look out for Trap Island Records. They could have some, long format content that we could drop with Lil Xlugg'R. So just keep an eye out for bros in this channel.
Yep.
Keep doing what you're doing, man.
like and subscribe.
Hell yeah. And I wanted to say this. Shout out to everybody that's been showing support. Ever since we brought Lil Xlugg'R onto the channel, we've been getting nothing but positive reviews, positive reactions, positive comments. So you guys just keep running up the channel. And you know what? I was just talking to my hood pops about this. And, we really feel like this is a good thing. We feel like, this is helping people that, sometimes don't have the answers, or sometimes they go to the wrong content creators because they get the wrong answers. What do you think that this is doing for people that are watching?
I hope it's just shining some light on what is really out there. Like I told you yesterday, Everybody can't be a real nigga. It's hard being a real nigga. If it was easy, everybody be a real nigga. There wouldn't be no gossiping. There wouldn't be no bullshit, no backstabbing. Instead, we got cold tail riders and motherfuckers that will hide in any shadow somebody will cast. I just hope you really take the time to listen. And if y'all got any questions, go ahead and run it up. Put it in the comments.
Yeah. If you guys got anything you guys want to ask Lil Xlugg'R, man, go ahead and run that up. But shit, as far as this goes, my boy's on the channel for life now. We up. Now, what do you think about when people come through and they say, I put my life on camera not to glorify it, but just to leave, a memory of when I'm gone, because they say what's on the internet will be there forever.
Oh, it sounds legit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it ain't always about the views and all the little fame that come along with it. That's not why I do this. I really have a passion to get out here and help the youth. Uh, I destroyed a lot of youngsters' lives pushing that line and bring little homies to the hood. And the only way I could correct that in my mind, an agreement I made with God, is to get out here and talk to these youth. Get out here and let them know, like, you ain't gonna find love in the hood. I can promise you that. It's everybody there ain't there for your benefit. Everybody there don't got your best interest. There's I still have homies I love. There's still homies that I talk to and make sure they got pictures and stuff.
I got a question for you, Slugger. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for your youngins, for your kids, for your family? What kind of because they say the life you lead is the legacy you leave. What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
A peaceful one. I just want peace. I want people to find peace. I found it in my Bible and with God. If that's what I could leave my family, if that's what I could leave any youngster out there searching, I say it every time, man. Dig deep in your Bible. You know what I'm saying? I found peace there. It was a part of me that was missing. I couldn't find.
Okay. If you got any of them youngsters that come up on you on the street or anywhere just in general, and they're talking about they want to hop in the streets, or they got family that's in the streets and they thinking about, you know, going and jumping in that type of lifestyle, what are some warnings or some wisdom that you could give them or pass them down?
I've been saying this for years. Any little youngster out there that want to start gangbanging, you gangbang correctly. You out here in the streets thugging correctly, it leads to prison for life or the grave. That's it, bar none. There's no other way around it. There's nothing that could tell me otherwise. I know better. I owe 108 years to the Utah State. I still owe these motherfuckers time I can't even pay. You do this shit correctly, you gangbang correctly, you're gonna be in a box for life, whether it's dead or alive. So get used to sleeping, eating, and shitting around another nigga your whole life or burn in hell. It's really your choice.
Or getting backstabbed and stabbed up on the tier by your own homies.
And that's in every car. That's in every car that's on the prison. I'll just tell y'all, man, find what's wrong with you. I'm a very big advocate of therapy. Find out what's wrong with you that makes you feel like you need that in your life.
I got another question. So if somebody was struggling on finding the answer to that what you just said, what would be like a first step that you would take to figuring out what's wrong with you, or how to go about finding what's wrong with you, or even finding yourself?
Look for the things that make you feel shame. Shame is the leading emotion that will make anybody do foul shit or lead you down the wrong path. Because when you try to hide from the shameful things and you can feel it in your chest, there's nothing but a big pit at the end of that. Because no matter how deep you dig that hole, your shame is right there in it with you. and you will never get over it until you figure out why. Why do I feel this way about that? How can I correct that? And if you can't figure it out on your own, there's motherfuckers that go to college to study this to tell you what's wrong.
How many times did you have to lose to figure out how to win?
Too many times. And that's the thing. Like anybody that say they came in the game and just started winning, like you a liar. Anybody promoting that banging ain't a struggle or hustling ain't a struggle ain't really doing it because any motherfucker in the game has took a L. You don't know what winning is like unless you lost.
So, do you know any motherfuckers that won and then they forgot about everybody? They have disappeared. They started acting different. Money was getting tighter. There was just nowhere to be found. They would boast and brag all online and stunt and flex and all that stuff. But do you feel like, is that shameful? Is that shameful to do something like that? To proclaim you're here for your people, but when you start winning, you ain't there, you ain't showing up, no money's being spent, and you're not looking out for your people. You ain't, practicing what you're preaching. How do you feel about that kind of topic as far as coming up and
Again, that fits right in with the contradictory. It if you gonna if you blew up and you made it and you doing you, don't get out there talking about what you do for your people or all this and that, or even glorify your past. You're past that. Move on. It's a new level. Why talk about irrelevancy?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not willing to reach out for your people, I ain't saying that's wrong by all means. That's every man's choice. Don't talk about it like you would though. Don't say you did. Just keep it pushing and do you. I ain't knocking you if that's what happened in anybody's particular case. Do you. But don't act like you feed your people. Don't act like motherfuckers ain't starving while your plate's full.
And there's a lot of that going around right now. We see it everywhere we go. We see it on all the internet apps. There's a lot of that shit going around. And a lot of people won't understand because they don't have that characteristic type or trait. But if anybody watching this and they can relate and they can understand, man, drop 100. If you can, you can relate, and some people that's done that to you or your family.
Yeah.
And those that are on the flip side of that coin, and you know a motherfucker that left you behind. So what? Move on with your life. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker was never gonna be there anyways. So
That's
why
they
waste
lost.
energy?
Yeah.
Why waste energy and your time? So I used to carry around a lot of hatred in me. And I learned that when I forgave somebody, it had nothing to do with the other person. It brought weight off my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I went around all day hating motherfuckers, and them motherfuckers was living their life. They didn't give two fucks that Slugger hated them or that I wanted to fight when I seen them. That motherfucker every day lived a good life. I was the only one suffering for the hatred I have for somebody else. It's like drinking poison and expecting to poison the person you hate. That's logical. Now think about it. You're gonna drink poison to kill somebody else. You're gonna take up all your time and energy you could be doing positive shit with, building memories with your people, and instead, nigga, you at home plotting on motherfuckers and ain't doing shit but wasting your time and energy.
And it could be the people that's most closest to you. You know,
For sure, envy's a
to
bitch.
and it's hard to, break that bond that y'all got. It could be your mother, your brother. It could be anybody in your circumference in your immediate family. It's a lot of people that'll tear you down just because they see you up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think envy is a motherfucker, but it's the hate that makes you great. And if you ain't great, you ain't gonna have a lot of hate. So you ain't doing something right.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I like hearing what you have to say, Xlugg'R.
Yeah. I mean, and it's real game too. Every time he speaks, I mean, this is somebody that's really been through it. Like I said, they basically wasted 15 years of their life in prison, but it wasn't a waste because they sat there and did what was necessary to build themselves as a man. And like we said, prison don't make you a man. It's what you do with your time and how you conduct yourself that makes you a man.
And no matter where you are, no matter what you do, if you gotta be in a box because of choices you made, You gotta suffer that. But don't sit there and waste your time. Time is only wasted if you do nothing with it. Educate yourself. And it's not always gonna be in school you get educated. Most of my education happened right here on these streets of Ogden. Most of my education came from being in Supermax with a pile of books. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had no teacher there with me. I didn't have no tutor. I learned how to read in prison. 19 years old, couldn't even read. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to read in prison.
Yeah, that's true. Now I was gonna say this right here. They were talking about it when how residents and how people from out of California live in the California prison system, and how they kind of have to submit to certain things in there. How is it for people out of state that end up in Utah prison? Is it, do they politic, or do how does it go?
You either fall in line or you get knocked off. That's that's all it is. That's what ain't nobody ever gonna change the Utah penal system. Uh, Politics everywhere else are real nice and tight, and everybody follows that line. Here in Utah, they just do whatever they want, and ain't nobody gonna tell them nothing because it's an entire system built and ran off it.
Okay, this is a question I wanted to ask right here, because they say people have some good fights, or they have some people just overpower people in fights in prison. What was probably five of your best fights in there throughout your whole time?
I'm gonna say 5 fights that I've lost. I'll say my first 5 fights on A West. Uh, Fighting kids my age and a couple older fools out here was nothing like fighting a man in prison. Fighting in DT, all that stuff is still all kid shit. But every time I got knocked down, I learned something to go into the next fight, knowing there was gonna be a next fight and what not to do.
What would you say is three of the most biggest things that uh, you achieved as far as growing, or whether that be incarcerated or as a free man? What are some of the things that you've accomplished along the way that you're most proud of and you hold to a very high standard?
I'm gonna say my faith. My faith is number one. Uh, in the last 4 years, there's a couple times where your boy thought about killing himself. You know what I'm saying? It was too much to try to understand and try to work out emotionally, logically, to be like, I'm gonna be done. I'm never gonna be Lil Xlugg'R again. I'm not from Thrasher no more. And it got tough. That was my whole life. I built my entire life since I was 12 years old around that. And to realize like you gotta leave all this behind, like it was a lot. But studying psychology and philosophy, the art of philosophy is asking why. That's it. That is philosophy in a nutshell. Always ask why. So I started thinking, why do I feel this way? Why do I not want to live no more? Why would I leave and stop if I didn't think something was wrong? And that led me to digging deep into what was wrong with me, not what's wrong with everybody else, because people are going to be people no matter what. They're going to be whoever they're going to be for whatever reason they invent or whatever they've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I can't change everybody else. I can only change myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading my Proverbs and Psalms every day. I started in the New Testament, and I found a real kindled spirit in Paul, who became Saul. For those that don't know, he was a Roman soldier, and his sole job was to incarcerate Christians, to kill Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, God reached out and touched him, blinded him, and told him, "Follow, go to this house. If you go there, I'll give you your sight back," basically, and send him to a Hebrew, which is a Christian and a follower of Jesus Christ. And when he got there to this guy's house, The guy was like, I'm not letting that dude in. He's a Roman soldier. And the angel came to him and told him, open the door. God commands it. And he went out there and gave him his guest rights and all that from back in the day and allowed him into his house.
Mm.
From that day forward, Paul was a follower of Jesus Christ. He seen God's hand, and to know somebody that grimy, that dirty, like it wasn't just men he was killing and in prison, it was women and children. Like, and the greatest part about Paul's story is through Paul, God gained the Gentiles. Anybody that doesn't know what a Gentile is, it's anybody that's not Hebrew. That's the rest of the world. That's all of us. You know what I'm saying? Through somebody that took lives and imprisoned people because they followed Jesus Christ. And through him, God gained the rest of the world.
Mm.
And he was the dirtiest, grimiest motherfucker you could find.
And that shows anybody can change.
Anybody.
It just has to be within you, and you have to put in the footwork. But now that we got that understood for the viewer's sake, we found out that faith is one of your most prized achievements as far as being in or out.
Faith.
What would be the other two?
Number 2 is empathy. To have the ability to put your feelings, your hurt, your anger aside and look at it from another person's point of view and understand why this is happening and how what you did affected them and this is why they're reacting that way is a true power. And after I learned what real empathy was, I can feel for anybody.
Mm.
And it sometimes it feels like a weakness. Sometimes it feels like it's extorted. But that's not my problem. I have to do what I feel is right. I'm a very logical person. So I cannot ever turn a blind eye to 1 + 1 is always going to be 2.
Yeah.
No matter how you color it. It could be a red one. It could be a green one. It's still going to add up to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way we overlook that is by anger, pride, selfishness. You could turn a blind eye when you allow your emotions to be the center of attention.
Mm.
But when you learn empathy, your emotions and your feelings and your understandings don't come first. And it really does make you feel for people. It makes you move differently.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, oh,
And these are some good questions for your viewers, you know what I mean? Because a
Yeah.
lot of people, this type of content isn't for everybody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
His story isn't for everybody. These are for, you know, people who really need these things that don't have these copaesthetics or the hood pops like you have to give them that outlet so they can input into it.
Exactly.
So I think this is a good thing you're doing, man. This is what's up. Well,
Thank
go
you.
ahead and keep
I'm
doing
going to say
your
number
thing,
3
man.
is going to have to be my future.
Mm.
Like before I gain the knowledge and the mindset I have now, my life was going to be in prison. Like I said, I owe 108 more years. They can send me back anytime they want. But now with the mindset I have and the loss of emotional baggage, like I got room to wiggle. I got room to breathe. And it's because my mindset has changed.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. See, you guys can get yourself in a situation. A 30-second decision can have you sitting there doing and owing years to the prison that you can't even pay. You can owe the prison 108 years, nigga. You only live into 80. You know where they gonna bury you? Right under the prison, my nigga. So just watch how the decisions that you make affect people, affect yourself, and always think twice. Because nigga, it's 2024 and crime ain't it no more. No cap. You can't get away with shit.
Nah, technology beat us.
Mm-hmm.
The age of the gangster's gone. There ain't no more Al Capones. Al Capone had to be one car and one radio.
that.
Bro, we got drones and facial recognition.
Okay,
Like,
let's talk
you
about that.
smoked. You can't win.
What do you think? Have you seen it lately? What do you think about the whole world seeing all these drones pop up out of nowhere?
It's it's just technology. I don't put too much stock in that. Uh, you know what I'm saying? It's always gonna happen. There's always gonna be something new. But people rather grip onto fear and curiosity than moving on with your day.
Yeah,
If it's not affecting you, what's it matter?
exactly.
What advice would you give to somebody who is very impulsive and emotionally careless, who don't think about their emotions when they encounter something that is very off-putting and they don't know how to intake the information, let alone react? What are some like steps you would give to somebody who can't control their emotions, who is like that homeboy that just always don't know how to act, or you get off the
Like
journey
me.
too much?
That was me. Like me.
What advice would you give to somebody, or what kind of steps would you give to somebody that don't know how to control their emotions?
So there's a couple classes, man, that help me with my impulse control. Thinking errors, like when you start to recognize what's going on in your body, the reactions your body has, the cues, that's when you can start to tell yourself, like, I recognize this, and this is the action that followed. So if you don't know your cues and you don't know how to control that, you need to go get yourself in thinking errors, anger management, and communications. Communication is key in every aspect of life.
Mm.
And that's communications with everything. Communications with your body, communications with your neighbor,
Relationships.
all of it. Everything in life has to do with communication. You got all these computers now that run everything,
Mm-hmm.
and a computer knows what to do by how many ones and zeros are placed there.
Mm-hmm.
Your body works the same way. Your body's going to tell you every time you're about to do something stupid. Even if your brain don't catch up, the rest of your body will give you cues
Yeah.
to know. Sweaty palms, heart racing, anxious moving. There's just so many cues. I suggest you go look them up and figure out what your cues are. And it's going to take a couple situations for you to start to realize, like, okay, that's what they was talking about. Okay, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just takes time to start realizing it before you react.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, man. So look, we right here, live and direct on the block. I feel like you think we ran through all the topics for today? You think we ran through? Got anything else?
I think we solid.
I bet. So look, man, we ran through all our topics. We did our 33 minutes right here on this live. You know, it's your boy Baby Thug at Trap Island Records, Lil Xlugg'R, Gooners. We all here. We on the block. For everybody that talks shit, no, nigga, I told you niggas. This my shit. This is my section. I own this YouTube shit. This me. So look, man, let's do our closing. Go ahead and do your little closing pops.
All right, man. Like, subscribe. Like I said, man, drop us in the comments. You got any questions? Any of us out there going through something and they don't want to turn to somebody they know? You know what I'm saying? I don't know you, homie. Well, you hit me up. I'll tell you really how I feel about a situation. And there ain't too many situations I ain't been through.
Mm-hmm.
And if I ain't been through them, I got niggas that been through them.
You got to check the source, man. You got to see if these guys are credible.
Always.
Always do the background. This ain't to disregard anybody's problems or take anybody's pain away from them. This is just to make you more aware of the circumstances that surround you, or what could be your circumstance, or how your circumstance, what you could do to better your circumstance, what actions, what moves you can make to better your circumstance. That's why he's on this podcast. That's why he produces the podcast. We're not spreading love. We're not spreading hate. We're only spreading love. Anybody who has anything negative to say about these two, they don't even like themselves. Let's get that understood.
That's true. Now, look, everybody have a good, safe Sunday night. If you're drinking, drink responsibly. If you're smoking, smoke responsibly. It's your boy, and we out.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep. That shit was good.